tonight, farm fields flooded.
Everything's saturated and full of water. I just can't get away.
The uncertainty being felt across Manitoba's agriculture sector, with crops underwater and livestock pasture reduced to islands. Also tonight,
residents are encouraged to prepare an emergency go bag.
how many people in Brandon are being given advance notice about the possibility of evacuations? Plus, Winnipeg's trees budget goes under the axe.
A possible funding cut for tree planting is coming at a terrible time.
A closer look at where the money is going instead, and why advocates have concerns for Winnipeg's canopy.
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm John Hendricks. Marilee is away. There is a light at the end of the tunnel after parts of the province, particularly the western region, were inundated with rain and overland flooding. In its latest flood bulletin, the province says most rivers and creeks have peaked, and with no significant rainfall on the horizon, water levels should begin dropping. Now, looking to the hard-hit Parkland region, the province says peak flows have already passed some areas upstream on the Assiniboine River, such as Russell. Officials estimate the peak is somewhere around the St. Lazare area today and will reach Brandon by about Monday. Areas further downstream, like Portage la Prairie, should see the highest water arrive by next Thursday. Now, that isn't to say we are out of the woods just yet. In its latest update, the province lists nearly 50 individual stretches of road or highway that are closed due to flooding. Repairs and assessments are ongoing. About 1,800 people in groups have applied for disaster financial assistance so far this year after 2 major rainstorms. The province says it's still too early to estimate how much the claims might total, and several communities are still cleaning up the aftermath. We'll check in on some of them in a moment. But first, rainfall has submerged thousands of acres of farmland. As farmers wait for fields to dry up, there are challenging days ahead. CTV's Joseph Bernacki joins us now live. So, Joseph, how are farmers feeling right now?
John, there's a lot of mixed emotions, stress, uncertainty, as farmers west of Winnipeg have just planted only to see seeds wash away. Entire fields near Gladstone are underwater, and the White Mud River is spilling over its banks. Some farmers are already thinking about next year. For Gladstone farmers Randy and Shelley Bjarnason, the coming weeks are full of uncertainty. Their grain and livestock fields east of the community remain mostly underwater.
It'll be a month before we even think about doing anything, I think, if the weather behaves itself.
Drone video over Gladstone taken earlier this month shows overland flooding on both sides of the Yellowhead Highway. Much of that water remains this week. Heavy rain and flooding of the White Mud River means a farm in crisis.
Probably our biggest concern is getting feed up for the cattle for us. Every field we have, she just drove across a field yesterday and drove from end to end and was driving through water across the whole thing. So we actually have a dike around 90 acres north here. We move the cows in.
And those cows may have to stay put for the time being. On top of this, the couple seeded late based on a cold spring. What they are able to cultivate come harvest time is unknown.
I don't know. The barley's looking quite yellow. I don't know if it'll pull through or not. The water has to get off first.
Richard Tower knows many of his farming neighbors nearby. He's been flying his drone over to capture the impact. Tower says there is nowhere for the water to drain fast enough.
This year, they even closed Highway 34 for fear that it would blow out the bridge. There was so much overland water flow coming through that. And that's the water you see. It travels 7 miles overland before rejoining the White Mud River right at Woodside.
Keystone agricultural producers say municipalities in the province need to spend money now to prevent flooding in the future.
We need the infrastructure maintained properly and to allow for producers to be able to adequately, in these events, be able to get rid of some of this water in a timely manner.
Manitoba Agricultural Services Corporation say they expect a large spike in crop insurance claims come harvest. The insurer says claims will be coming in from all over this year.
But it really seems that it's happened in many more areas of Manitoba this year. It's less isolated than maybe we see in some years.
No rainfall in the immediate forecast may be good news for farmers, but given the damage already done, there are fears the challenge has just begun.
Joseph, do we have any sense for what kind of impact that this will have on prices?
John, Jill Verwey from Keystone Ag Producers says markets are starting to react and fall prices are already being affected given the strain. But again, she says only time will tell how much can be saved. And again, all that depends on the weather cooperating.
Thanks, Joseph. The city of Brandon is issuing evacuation notices as Manitoba's second largest city continues its flood preparations.
The current river level is 1171.9. That's at bank full capacity and approximately 8,000 cubic feet a second.
Brandon Mayor Jeff Fawcett made the announcement today, but he's emphasizing that these are evacuation notices and not orders. The notices, which will be sent out soon, will be used to provide residents within the evacuation zone information regarding the situation. But the city is also encouraging residents to prepare should the situation evolve.
There's a high level of confidence. Be ready, because things can change. And there just is, there's things that can happen. And so we have to be ready. And one of the reasons we have that state of emergency is if things have to happen fast, they will. And we will act on them. We're controlling everything we can control. And it's the things that we can't, that we're going to be ready to adapt to.
Fawcett says the city's sandbanking operations are already underway and tiger dams will be placed tomorrow. The mayor estimates around 4,000 to 5,000 people could be affected, and residents are encouraged to put together an emergency bag with essential items. Over in Swan River, Mayor Lance Jacobson says a monumental cleanup is underway. He says people there could only begin the process on Saturday after water levels had sufficiently receded.
It's a lot of work. I was down helping a few of the people there with my employees, cleaning out some of the basements, and it's a lot of work. And we're still waiting on some help from the provincial and federal governments with boots on the ground, and also to help relieve some of our administration who have been working, 13, 14-hour days and are slowly getting burnt out.
Jacobson says a team from the humanitarian organization Team Rubicon Canada is in the area and was expected to arrive in town this morning to begin assessments. He adds the town has hired contractors to help dispose of flood debris, and fees at the landfill, which reopened today, are being waived. Water use restrictions have also been lifted. Dauphin Regional Health Center will remain closed for an extended period of time. The health center was evacuated due to flooding from last week's storm. Extensive damage to critical infrastructure, particularly within the basement level, was found. Now, because of that, Prairie Mountain Health now says the center will need to remain closed while further assessments, repairs, and remediation is completed. Planning is underway to reestablish the emergency department and diagnostic services. Ambulance service and our ERs are available from St. Rose and Grandview. Meantime, the city of Dauphin shared this video to social media showing crews cleaning up heaps of debris lining the streets. Heavy equipment can be seen picking up piles of damaged furniture and garbage and dropping it into waiting trucks. On Tuesday, the city announced essential household water use could resume. However, it's encouraging residents to wait until nighttime to run laundry and dishwashing machines to keep the pressure off the wastewater system. CTV's Taylor Brock joins us now with a first look at your Skywatch evening forecast. And Taylor, it looks like in addition to water, there's also some concern about smoke on the horizon.
That's right, John. There's a lot of yellow behind me, so I'll move to the side so folks can get a better view of that. Now, it's no secret northern Manitoba is dealing with some wildfires. That is, of course, bringing along with it issues with smoke. There's an air quality warning actually in effect for northern Manitoba. Although folks in Gillam and Churchill not under this warning, but just to the south of this region, including here in Winnipeg, just to be advised that we could be feeling feeling some the effects of that smoke just moving a little further south. That does include folks here in Winnipeg. However, it's actually more likely that we'll be dealing with things like extreme heat and places where they don't want to get more water. We'll be getting more rain. We'll chat about more about that in just a bit.
The CTV Live Eye is brought to you by Bath Fitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years.
Right now in downtown Winnipeg, it is currently 26 degrees, feeling more like 27 with the humidity. A few clouds in the sky, very low winds with pressure dropping and humidity at 31%.
Thanks, Taylor. A Manitoba nurse has pled guilty to several professional misconduct offenses after admitting to working a shift in an emergency care unit without the proper certification or training. Now, that's according to a recently published decision by the College of Registered Nurses of Manitoba. According to an agreed statement of facts, the nurse accepted a shift in the ICU at Brandon Regional Health Center in January of 2024. It says they were told to provide a blood transfusion, but never did and never told anyone. They were also instructed to give a patient an IV before going into an operating room and told staff the fluids had started. However, the patient was later found not to have an IV. They were eventually told to leave. The college found the nurse had a Bachelor of Nursing from the Philippines, but had not worked as a nurse for 6 years before arriving in Canada. They became a registered nurse in Manitoba in 2022, but claimed no nursing hours in 2023, and their certificate expired about 2 weeks before accepting the shift at the Brandon Health Center. The penalties include an $8,000 fine, mandated nursing courses, and more than 2,000 required practice hours. An advocacy group is calling a proposed chop to the city's tree budget a terrible decision. The $1.2 million cut would pay for upgrades to the Journey to Churchill exhibit. As CTV's Jeff Keel reports, Trees Winnipeg worries that this could impact Winnipeg's canopy.
As workers plant trees in Vimy Ridge Park, City Council is considering an unexpected cut to the trees budget.
I think it's a terrible decision to make.
The Manitoba government is directing the city to divert $1.2 million for upgrades to the Journey to Churchill exhibit. The money would come from the city's tree planting budget.
Well, I wish we didn't have to make this decision. I wish the province would have contributed an additional $1.2 million from their budget to fund this, so the council wouldn't be put in a position to make a decision.
A city report says this will delay the implementation of the city's urban forest strategy. Advocacy group Trees Winnipeg says the tree planting money is needed to stem the loss of trees from blights like emerald ash borer and storms.
That cut, could mean thousands of trees not planted on city boulevards, in city parks like this, in other places around the city.
The city says this still leaves $9.8 million in the tree budget, more than last year's amount.
We're expediting or speeding up our pruning processes so our trees stay healthier in our urban canopy.
The Assiniboine Park Conservancy says the additional money is needed to maintain a filtration system as the Journey to Churchill facilities are more than a decade old. A provincial spokesperson says they are proud to support the park. This funding will help ensure that the Conservancy can continue to deliver quality services to families by enhancing its animal health center, which is essential for attractions like the bears in the Journey to Churchill. But Trees Winnipeg questions why the money couldn't come from somewhere else.
They could shave a little bit off here and there and make up $1.2 million. Road construction, things like that.
Jeff Keel, CTV News Winnipeg.
Winnipeg home sales and listings are up. Real estate sales rose 2% last month from the same time last year. There were 3,900 listings in June, 6% more than in 2025. Just under 1,700 homes sold. The average price of a residential detached home was just under $484,000. That's the highest ever for June. Now, while home sales are up, condo sales dropped 2%, and average prices fell to $286,000 from June of 2025. Overall, MLS sales are down 6% from last year, with listings 2% lower. And Winnipeg's office vacancy rate is on a path back to historical norms. The latest quarterly report from Colliers Canada shows the overall vacancy rate has declined by 30 basis points year over year. The overall second quarter vacancy rate is 13.3%. Downtown Winnipeg is higher at 14.8%. Winnipeg's average net rent asking price, just under $16 per square foot, is slightly higher from last year. The market was primarily driven by suburban space and a sublease at CF Polo Park. Winnipeg's office vacancy rate is largely on par with the national average. With the Iran ceasefire effectively over, President Trump hints more strikes are coming on Iranian targets.
No more.
I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore, with this scum.
The latest on the conflict in the Middle East. And we'll have a closer look at developments out of the NATO summit as it comes to a close in Turkey. Look at the markets. Crude oil added $3. The loonie rose to 70.55 cents U.S. Gold futures lost $75. The TSX dropped 336 points after Trump declared the Iran ceasefire was over. The Dow Jones plunged 576 points, and the Nasdaq was up 51 points. World leaders, including Canada's Prime Minister, have wrapped up 2 days of talks in Turkey, with Donald Trump calling the NATO summit a success. He added there was tremendous love and unity in the room. As CTV's Graham Richardson shows you, it's an unexpected praise coming from an American president who hasn't been a big fan of the alliance.
Even as Canada reviews how many American F-35s it will buy, it's getting ready to arm the jets. An $800 million contract to a German firm for Joint Strike missiles on the F-35s. Part of Canada's boost to defense spending.
The capacities are being built, and you've seen recent announcements. There's more announcements today from Canada in terms of our procurement.
From Canada, it's new submarines, surveillance aircraft like GlobalEye, and the fighter jets, all boosting spending as Americans have demanded for many years. Carney says U.S. President Donald Trump is pushing NATO to change.
It's not just he's winning the argument, he's won the argument. Countries recognize that they need to take more responsibility, see the direct threats.
In the space of just a few hours, Donald Trump blasted Spain, threatening to cut off all trade with the United States.
Spain is a wasted cause. We don't want to do any trade business with Spain anymore.
A short time later, it was all about unity with NATO allies.
The unity in that room was incredible. The really a love. It was sort of pretty wild.
NATO's Secretary General has demanded a clear and credible plan for allies to spend 5% of GDP on defense by 2035. He also credits the American shift.
President Trump has been able to finally get done what since Eisenhower American presidents tried to do, which was to equalize defense spending between Europe and the United States.
Carney insists Canada is well on its way.
By the NATO definition, before the end of this decade, we are spending 4%.
So as NATO grapples with Donald Trump's mood, the hard part will be trying to fill the gap the Americans are leading. NATO and Canada say that's what all this spending is about, and they're up to the task. Graham Richardson, CTV News, Ankara.
Now, for the U.S. president, it was a day of tough talk and mixed messages over Iran at the NATO summit. Donald Trump blaming Iran's leaders, calling them cuckoo and scum for violating the shaky ceasefire. CTV's Joy Malbin has that story.
The U.S. president said he's done. At the NATO summit, Donald Trump declared the fragile ceasefire with Iran is no more.
I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore. They're scum. They're led by sick people. And they're vicious, violent people. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they'd use it.
After another round of tit-for-tat strikes, the U.S. military blasted 80 targets in Iran. Retaliation, it says, for Iran's attacks on commercial oil tankers violating the ceasefire. In response, Tehran said it struck American bases in the Gulf, and Trump is furious.
We hit him very hard last night, very hard. Probably hit him hard again tonight. I'll give him a little warning. We may take over Cargillan. There's not a thing they can do about it.
Canada's Prime Minister felt the U.S. strikes were justified.
The United States has responded as appropriate to look to stop this behavior and put in place at least conditions to reestablish the ceasefire.
But as mourning continues for Iran's supreme leader, state media accused the president of bullying. One official warned Trump is, quote, driving the region toward fire. But by the afternoon, Trump, who once praised Iran's leadership as smart and rational, said,
I think they're a little loco, they're a little crazy. I got to know them. And I'm not sure I want to make a deal with them. We can play games, but I'm not sure I want to make a deal. Let's just finish the job.
Unclear if this is a return to full-scale war. The president declared he's Iran's #1 target, calling ceasefire talks a waste of time, but said his negotiating team could still go ahead. Joy Malvin, CTV News, Washington.
Officials in New York City say they've been able to temporarily stabilize a high-rise building. 2 of the support columns in the building had buckled. Officials say more work will be done in the coming days.
We've been monitoring the building for many hours and have not seen any movement.
The New York City Fire Department was called in yesterday morning when bricks started falling from the building. The 37-story office tower was being converted into apartment units when workers noticed the buckling support columns. Several buildings in the area remain under evacuation orders. China is bracing for another super typhoon, the second to hit the region in just a week. The tropical cyclone measures more than 1,000 kilometers across. It was carrying winds of more than 290 kilometers an hour when it briefly made landfall Monday on the island of Rota in the western Pacific. Last week, a typhoon made landfall in China's southern island province of Hainan. There is a wildfire burning in BC's Fraser Canyon, forcing some evacuations, and a section of the Trans-Canada Highway closed.
We're always preparing for the worst and hoping for the best. It's why we're asking British Columbians all across the province, but in particular in the areas around Boston Bar and the vicinity of this fire, to have your go bags ready and to be fire smart.
The wildfire is near the community of Boston Bar, northeast of Vancouver. More than 160 homes are under evacuation orders, and a stretch of Highway 1 north of Boston Bar remains closed, with flames on either side of the Trans-Canada Highway. Air Canada has hired a new CEO, and unlike the previous head of the airline, he speaks French.
Je rejoins Air Canada avec beaucoup de respect pour le travail accompli au cours des dernières années.
Anko van der Werf has most recently been running the Scandinavian Airlines and also held executive roles at Aeromexico and KLM. He's originally from the Netherlands. He speaks Dutch, English, French, Spanish, Italian, and Swedish, all to varying levels of fluency. Outgoing CEO Michael Rousseau will retire on August 31st. Rousseau sparked controversy over his inability to speak French. Hundreds of soldiers and military students marched in Paris as they prepare for Bastille Day next week. Today was the first day of rehearsals for the parade along the Champs-Élysées. This year's ceremonies will feature troops from Ukraine and the 35 countries from the Coalition of the Willing, which includes Canada. Now, that's the group of countries organized by France and the UK to help guarantee peace in Ukraine after Russia's invasion comes to an end. Bastille Day is July 14th, celebrating a key uprising during the French Revolution. A U.S. consortium of aquariums says the government has approved an emergency rescue to import marine lands, whales, and dolphins. The shuttered Niagara Falls tourist attraction is up for sale, and the park has said that it is running out of money to care for its 30 belugas and 4 dolphins. Ottawa endorsed a plan to move the animals to several facilities in the U.S. and 1 in Spain. The whales are set to go to 5 marine parks. Marineland says it welcomes the authorization of the relocation and says the move is in the best interests of the whales.
So we are expecting now that when we finally see the car at the dealership and also on the street, our customer will really start loving it.
The first batch of high-end Chinese electric vehicles are officially on the ground in Canada, why manufacturers are bringing top-of-the-line products to market first, and why some are raising concerns around national security.
The mercury continues to rise up and up and up, including here in Winnipeg. Now, next week, we are going to be seeing a lot of sunshine and feeling that heat. No heat advisory in place yet, but as you can see, temperatures in the low to mid 30s Celsius for us on Sunday and starting off next week. And it's a very different case for folks over to the west of us here in Winnipeg, as they will be dealing with more rain very soon. More to come in your complete Skywatch forecast.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
The first Chinese EVs are starting to hit the roads in Canada. Since Prime Minister Mark Carney struck a deal with China earlier this year, about 2,900 have been imported so far. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver is in Montreal and getting a first look at one of the brands now available.
There's a new player in Canada's electric vehicle space. The Lotus Electra, a high-end luxury SUV made in Wuhan, China, has officially hit Canadian roads, and it starts at $119,000.
So we are expecting now that when we finally see the car at the dealership and also on the street, our customer will really start loving it.
This is the first kind of Chinese-made EV for sale under a new agreement that will allow up to 49,000 Chinese-made EVs into Canada, essentially tariff-free. Experts say these more expensive models offer companies higher profit margins to test out and establish themselves in the Canadian market.
At the start, they're going to come with a little bit more expensive models, but eventually they'll bring in affordable models, which should bring the price of cars overall for vehicles down in this country.
So far, 2,910 Chinese electric vehicles like this fully loaded, top-of-the-line Lotus Electric EV have already been imported to Canada, and a handful of this model have already been sold. But the Chinese EVs have faced pushback and even calls for the cars to be banned from sensitive sites like military bases. Many experts have privacy and national security concerns about the kind of data the cars can collect and potentially share with the Chinese government.
All cars are computers on wheels, and they're massive computing devices. And by law in China, this state has access to that data. It doesn't mean they will access the data, but it means they can should they choose to.
The CEO of Lotus Group Americas says the cars comply with all government rules and regulations.
We disclosed to the government everything that is related on our software, everything that related on our hardware, and we pass all the examination.
If you can't afford one of these luxury EVs, more affordable options will soon be on the market. The Prime Minister wants half of all Chinese EVs imported into Canada to cost less than $35,000 by 2030. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Montreal.
It seems climate change is weighing heavily on the minds of a majority of Canadians. According to a new survey from Statistics Canada, 53% of Canadians were very or extremely concerned by climate change. Nearly a third said they felt stressed by the subject at least once a month. Interestingly, Canadians aged 65 years and older were more likely to be highly concerned than those between the ages of 15 and 24. Only about 4 in 10 believe they will personally be the most affected by climate change, but 81% believe future generations will bear the heaviest impact.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
CTV's Taylor Brock has your complete Skywatch forecast, and boy, it looks like it's going to be pretty warm over the next few days.
I honestly, John, warm may be an understatement because Mother Nature really is bringing the heat. Speaking of Mother Nature, we do also have those wildfires burning in northern Manitoba. Actually, because of that, we still are under special weather, air quality warning. The areas in yellow are particularly where the heaviest smoke is going to be felt. Churchill, Gillam, you folks seem to be in the clear, so to speak, but a little further south, including here in Winnipeg, there is a chance folks who are a little more sensitive could be feeling that as well. And if you are a little more sensitive to the air, well, as mentioned, it's going to be quite hot. We are seeing that actually along the Trans-Canada Highway. So this orange one right here and moving across Canada to the south is where actually we could be feeling things the muggiest over the weekend. So I guess luckily Folk Fest, folks over here are actually going to be above that line, but still quite hot over the weekend. No heat advisory has been released yet. However, we can expect, particularly on Sunday, temperatures to feel like 45 degrees. So really a sweltering weekend and early next week. We'll chat more about that in a second, though. Let's look at the rain. We are seeing, particularly in western Manitoba, rain showers, potential for even a thunderstorm as well on the way. We'll watch this system come through the prairies all the way to us here in Manitoba by the time late morning, midday tomorrow. And that could also bring with it another swath of rainstorms. And because that could be quite heavy, and with this heat, it could turn into thunderstorms or even severe thunderstorms. So we'll keep an eye on that one. But for farmers, as we mentioned earlier in the show, who are dealing with this flooding, please be advised that we are going to be seeing that rain come through throughout the day tomorrow as well as Friday. Things here in Winnipeg mostly clear, though. Tonight, a clear sky with 13 degrees as our expected low, 17 the high tomorrow with a mix of sun and cloud. In the morning, but tomorrow throughout the day, 27 degrees is the hottest it'll get as we see a mainly sunny sky for folks. We will actually be seeing across, as mentioned, throughout the evening, some clouds, but to the west really is where those rain and thunderstorms are expected, really right across the western region. Here in Winnipeg, our storm shield seems to be a bit in place for us, but Portage, rain and potential for thunderstorms there. Kenora, mostly cloudy tomorrow with 27 degrees as the expected high. Looking at our Skywatch pick of the day, this one comes to us from Whitemouth Falls Provincial Park. Thanks to Ken for sending this gorgeous shot in. And this one comes actually just in Ontario at Royal Lake. Thanks to David for your snapshot. You can send your photos to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
Thanks, Taylor. A special graduation dinner is celebrating the achievements of 20 newcomers. Immigrant and Refugee Community Organization of Manitoba is hosting the event for the graduates. Its after-school homework and education for youth programs have supported many of the students throughout their learning journeys. Several of them are the first in their families to graduate from high school, making this opportunity to share the moment with loved ones all the more special.
They were really proud, actually. Of course, it's understandable because the whole reason why we came here to Canada was to start a new life and get better access to education, which we couldn't, get back home. And they've sacrificed a lot for us to get to this point, so seeing that their hard work paid off, they were for sure happy.
The meal being served features cultural foods and flavors representing the graduates' diverse backgrounds. ERCOM provides housing programs and services for newcomer parents and children.
Inorganic arsenic especially is associated with some serious health effects.
While rice is generally considered safe to eat, there are concerns that some products can contain a concerning level of a harmful heavy metal. We'll have that story just ahead. Rice is a regular lunch and dinner staple in many countries around the world. A new food safety investigation finds that some rice products can contain concerning levels of arsenic, a potentially dangerous heavy metal. Here's CTV's Pat Foran.
From sushi to stir-fry to simple sides, we eat a lot of rice. But Consumer Reports says rice can carry a risk. Inorganic arsenic, a dangerous form of a heavy metal and known carcinogen.
Inorganic arsenic especially is associated with some serious health effects. We know that it's associated with skin cancer, bladder cancer, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular effects.
Consumer Reports bought 52 rice products from store shelves, then sent them to a specialized lab for testing.
We detected measurable levels of arsenic, and specifically inorganic arsenic, in every sample of rice that we tested.
The levels vary. For example, brown rice in general has more inorganic arsenic than white rice of the same type. Basmati and sushi rice tend to have less arsenic than other types. And more than 40% of the tested products had enough arsenic that eating just one serving a day over time could raise the risk of cancer and type 2 diabetes. Several brands like Lundberg and Whole Foods told Consumer Reports they test for heavy metals, but many other companies didn't respond. According to Health Canada, the concentrations of arsenic in foods sold in Canada are low and have been stable for many years. However, it says to reduce exposure to arsenic, you should eat a variety of healthy foods each day, vary the types of whole grains in your diet, and cook rice in extra water, drain the rice, and throw out the cooking water. Consumer Reports agrees and says you should cook rice in extra water for 5 minutes, then drain it and finish it in fresh water, as this can significantly reduce arsenic levels. Bottom line, don't overeat rice. Use different sides from time to time, including quinoa and oats, which tests show are lower in arsenic. And when choosing rice, consider lower arsenic varieties like basmati and sushi. Pat Foran, CTV News.
Researchers at Princess Margaret Cancer Centre in Toronto are trying to determine whether a blood test can detect tiny amounts of cancer after patients have been treated. The lead investigator says smaller studies have indicated that cancer DNA can show up in blood in amounts too small to be identified by CT scans. If the test is positive, patients could get additional experimental treatments to try and prevent the cancer from returning. If the test is negative, it could indicate the patient is fully cancer-free. Researchers say more study is needed at this stage.
The test is still not standard of care because the sensitivity of the test is really important. And just because it's negative may be a false negative. So it's really important for us to study this and to be following these patients very closely to understand if they are truly free from cancer, if they're negative on this test, or if they are positive on this test, whether ultimately the cancer will show up and whether we can act on it to reduce the chance of the cancer from coming back.
The trial also aims to find out if the effectiveness of the blood test varies between different types of cancer. Baby walkers, which were sold online despite Canada's ban on the product since 2004, are being recalled. The latest recall affects the Verver 4-in-1 baby walker, which was sold on online home goods site Wayfair. According to Health Canada, the advisory says children in baby walkers are exposed to hazards that would not normally be accessible, and there is also a risk that they could fall downstairs. As of the end of June, there have been no reports of injuries in Canada. You're told to immediately stop using the product and ensure it cannot be used again after disposing of it. Canadian law forbids recalled products from being sold or given away.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manukin Koster Denture Clinic.
It's just a testament to how many people want to come and be there this year.
It's a first for Folk Fest. The festival celebrates a sold-out weekend days in advance. Spotlight is next.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Las Vegas headliner Terry Fader.
The gates open tomorrow for the 51st Winnipeg Folk Festival. And if you already have tickets, congratulations. Organizers say for the first time ever, the festival completely sold out before opening day.
It's an incredible feeling. We have, over time, sold individual days out during the festival, but to sell out of the whole festival, days before it's begun. It's just a testament to how many people want to come and be there this year.
Executive Director Valerie Shan says ticket sales have slowly been going up over the past several years. They assumed it would peak last year for the festival's 50th anniversary, but they were wrong.
It really, I think, just reminded people of how much they wanted to be at the festival. And so this is building on, years of work that's been happening at the festival. And I just think people want to be together.
The bad news is this means there are no tickets available at the gate and no additional tickets are being released. Organizers do not recommend buying tickets through third-party platforms because of the risk of scams. So for those lucky enough to snag a ticket, gates open tomorrow at 5 p.m. Stonewall Quarry Days is just around the corner, and its lineup of Canadian country music stars will help you dance the night away.
There's no way now, thought we could work it out.
Manitoba's own Doc Walker, Michelle Wright, and Jason McCoy will be bringing the great Canadian road trip to town. They'll be taking the stage Friday, August 14th at the Veterans Memorial Sports Complex. Quarry Days runs Friday to Sunday. Two of Canada's top Ukrainian dance ensembles are hitting the stage together for a special show. It's called United on Stage, Raskolka and Yevshan in concert. The performances bring together Winnipeg's Raskolka Ukrainian Dance Ensemble and Saskatoon's Yevshan Ukrainian Folk Ballet Ensemble. Audiences will be treated to shows featuring traditional and contemporary choreography from both groups. They will band together for a final joint Hopak number symbolizing unity. The show kicks off on November 1st at 2 p.m. at Centennial Concert Hall. Get ready for an enchanted evening. The Princess Proms concert is coming to Winnipeg this winter. The performance pays tribute to iconic songs from beloved movies and musicals like Frozen, K-pop Demon Hunters, and Wicked. It also features pop tunes from artists including Taylor Swift and Rachel Platt. The show twirls into Centennial Concert Hall on December 30th. Tickets go on sale July 10th at 11 a.m. through the Concert Hall's website. Horror film Obsession is now the highest grossing movie with a budget under $1 million US. The movie's made more than $400 million at the global box office, becoming the 10th horror film in history to pass that mark. Obsession made its debut at the Toronto International Film Festival last September before being released widely in May. And here's your Wednesday primetime lineup. The Big Bang Theory is at 7. Catch The Rainmaker at 8. Then at 9, The Rebuild inside the Montreal Canadiens. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
When they arrived at the library, it was like like Christmas.
A piece of 1,600-year-old history on display in Montreal. We'll have that story when we return.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
It was a warm day today here in Winnipeg, with temperatures reaching a high of 26 degrees, although not quite getting close to that 32.9 degree record from 2018. We are actually going to be expecting temperatures to get close to breaking records on the weekend. That includes on Sunday, where temperatures are expected to reach a high of 33 degrees. So if you're heading to Folk Fest, try to stay cool.
Montreal is now home to a rare parchment, part of a manuscript that is more than 1,000 years old. Angela Mackenzie has that story.
There are thousands of books carefully preserved in the Université de Montréal's Rare Books and Special Collections Library. These boxes contain 8 precious new editions.
When they arrived at the library, it was like like Christmas.
Librarian Mathieu Thomas says thanks to an endowment fund, they were able to purchase rare items like this piece of parchment. It's a fragment of a manuscript written in Latin on animal skin from around the year 900, the time of Charlemagne. It's an exciting discovery for medieval studies professor Francis Gingras.
They used old parchment to bind new books because they thought the text was not interesting. But that way we've kept some very old fragments of parchments.
It's one of the oldest documents being preserved in a Montreal university.
The fact that it's in such good condition, and you can really see it's the origin of our current script, the way we write.
Like here, we have a very old, I think in French we call it psautier.
The new acquisitions include this illuminated psalter from 13th century France containing parts of the Bible and an impressive volume of anatomy books from 1866.
Some of the images are pretty gruesome.
But before photography, these precise illustrations were a valuable tool for teaching medicine. Gingras says researchers can bring these documents to life, making it essential to preserve them in a library rather than a museum or private collection.
I've traveled a lot to see these manuscripts, to see books like that, and to know that now Montreal can also welcome researchers doing the same work. It's a form of pride.
And for students, it can be an antidote to an increasingly digital world.
Some of them are like, I can't wait to tell my parents that today I touched a book from the 14th century.
The library also offers guided tours to the public once a month, so everyone can get close to unique fragments of history. Angela McKenzie, CTV News.
You know, I've got some books that are about 30, 35 years old, but I've got to hold on to them a little longer to get to that level.
I've got one that's 94, and I thought that was impressive. Guess not.
Not quite as impressive as that, but pretty good. A programming note before we go tonight. Our 5 o'clock broadcast is preempted tomorrow to make way for FIFA soccer. But you can catch us here at 6 o'clock as usual. And watch CTV News anytime on our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca. Good night.